Hi guys, welcome to the video. I thought I would do a really fun one because I feel like I'm always sharing all the mistakes that you can make on your way here. And a lot of my content is just like, here's what you're gonna do wrong. So I just wanted to make a video on all the things that I personally did wrong so that you can feel a little bit better about yourself, knowing that, you know, mistakes are gonna happen, things are gonna go wrong, and you're gonna get through it. My content is obviously designed to help you make less mistakes, but they're still going to happen. So I want you to not stress out if any of these things happen to you. And there's probably a lot more things that can happen that thankfully I didn't do. I made a little free resource for you guys on all the things that can go wrong. So I'm going to link that in the comments below. And if you didn't know, I have a full working holiday ebook available to buy that has basically everything you could need to know about working holiday visa and moving to Whistler and all that. So if you're at the start of your journey and you're just feeling very overwhelmed with the visa, definitely start there. I think it's a super great resource. It's all the things that I learned along the way that took me years and years and years to learn. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Okay, let's get into it. All the things that I did wrong. It's actually so funny to note these down and read them back. Firstly, I didn't know that you only had 30 days to do your biometrics when you're doing your visa. So when I was doing mine, it was still COVID and it was like Christmas time, and it was honestly just a really terrible time. And when I got the message that I had to have my biometrics done within 30 days, it was honestly like, oh my God, what the heck am I doing? And we barely made it. So just keep in mind that when you do get approved to do your biometrics, you only have 30 days, but I've got the full timeline listed in my ebook, okay? Another thing with my visa is I actually put the wrong address for my police certificate. So you have to have a police certificate to get your visa. And I did Stefan's fine. Stefan's came in the mail and I was like, where the heck is mine? And you only have a certain amount of days to get all your visa documents in. And I was like, oh my God, where is mine? And I followed up and saw that I put some random address that is definitely not my address. So I freaked out, had a shit time, and thankfully it was okay. You can just leave a little comment and then send it later. But it was a lot of unnecessary stress. So yeah, make sure that you double check things and don't do it so quick and put the right freaking address. But know that if you do something silly like that, it'll work out, hopefully. When we actually came to Canada, this is a funny story. We came before our America trip. So we were like, okay, we're going to get all of our stuff done straight away. The day that we arrived in Canada was actually a public holiday. Eek. So we could not do any of the things that I planned, and it was very painful. I basically went to Canada first for no reason, other than I got my visa, so that was a win, but all the other stuff that I had organized to do, couldn't do. So make sure you check dates, check times, for when you need to get your SIN and all that kind of thing, okay? That's really key. Another thing that I did because of the timing of our US trip is I actually came to Whistler very early. I came 2 weeks early, maybe earlier, and in theory you don't need to come that early because you're not working and things are expensive. So I spent a couple of weeks just trying to survive, basically, because I had been on a big trip and I wasn't working for a bit, and I was very like, oh my God, I have no money, and it was kind of painful. So just when you're timing your arrival, just keep that in mind. On that, when I arrived, I did not realize how expensive groceries were. I just kind of assumed that there would still be some cheap things, but ultimately there are basically no cheap things. There's no cheap things. So that was kind of a painful thing to realize, and it kind of set me on a little, freak out. A lot of these things was just like, I had a little freak out, and I would love to avoid you having to freak out. So the more that you know now, the better it will be for you. When I did first arrive in Whistler, I went to a hostel. I didn't go to my housing, but even then, I caught the bus, which I do not recommend. We had so much stuff, it was very painful, and I wish I had just spent an extra couple of bucks and got the taxi because it would have been a lot less stressful for me. I had to carry like so many suitcases up this massive hill, and it was terrible. So definitely when you're coming, make sure that you just catch a taxi. I have a full video on checking into staff housing that has more information on that if you would like. This one's actually really funny. So when I checked into staff housing, they said something about, oh, your roommates will be home. And that was like, for me, because I did not realize that I was going to have roommates. I don't know why. I was just under the assumption that at Westside, I didn't have roommates because I had looked up the housing or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's just me and Stefan. I don't know. To be honest, I had no clue about staff housing before I came. Before I started making content, there was no content on staff housing. It was just one photo on Google Images, and that's all I had to base things on. So yeah, just know now you will have roommates depending on your situation. Actually, no matter your situation, most likely you are going to have, housemates. Not in your room, well, maybe in your room too, but definitely within the house, no matter what, okay? So as I said, when I got to Whistler, I was really worried about money. So something that I would have, if I could do it again, I would not do, is I got myself a second job at the start of the season because I wanted to make my money because I was getting really worried, right? I was getting hours for Whistle Back Home, but I think they were like less than I wanted and I was just getting concerned. So what I did was I actually had a second job on my weekend days, and I told myself, oh yeah, I'll just work now. I won't go on the mountain. And then when I have enough money, like at the start of the next year, within like a month or so, then that's when I'll go snowboarding, which kind of ruined everything for me because another mistake I made, although I didn't mean to do this, but I broke my wrist. So after that month of working extra and not snowboarding, the January, I broke my wrist. So then I couldn't go snowboarding. So if I hadn't have done those steps, then things may have been different for me, but shit happens. But yeah, know that you may get hurt, and I don't think we can avoid that too much, but obviously you can make sure that you got good insurance. I have a really good video on insurance now that I finally got up, so that should help you guys a lot. And I have an affiliate link in the comments, so please use that if you can. Thank you. On the note of working extra, this, again, was a mistake because of the snowboarding, but it's also a mistake because winter is so busy. It is so freaking busy. And maybe it won't be at the start, but it will end up being very busy and you will have plenty of work in winter. So I really did not need that extra job, and I ultimately set myself up for failure because then I was burnt out. I burnt myself out many a times, especially the first season, but then again, through my other 2 winters, I burnt myself again and again. And that's probably due to my job. My job was very like high pressure, lots of responsibility, but it was also the fact that I was just, working too much, partying too much, etc. I did not notice the key things that were showing me that I'm about to burn out, and then I would just have like a really, really the worst week of my life.
If you can't tell, I'm feeling even worse than the last video that I took. Things have been going a lot worse for me. I'm like about as rock bottom as you could get. Like the only word that I think could describe how I've been feeling the last few days is just like catatonic.
So try and avoid that if you can. When you start to see the signs of burnout, maybe stop drinking alcohol for a few days, get some sleep, try and get some sunshine if there's any, take your supplements, drink your water, get some veggies in. That's really, really key. And yeah, if you're a little stressed about money at the start of the season, try not to be, okay? Because it will get better. I can assure you, you will get more hours as it goes on. In saying that though, there is a portion of time in the year where there will be less money, and that's called dead season. I did not think about dead season. I didn't really think about after winter at all. I was just going there for a winter and didn't think much else. I did not know that the mountain closed between seasons. It makes sense, but I just didn't really think about it at all. So it closes for a portion between winter and summer, which is not too long, and then it closes again summer to winter. That is much bigger, right? Because you're going from hot weather, waiting until it all the way gets snowy and cold, right? So that portion is a time where you may not be working at all if you are limited hours, and you will need money. So definitely it's important to plan your year and plan your savings and plan your money and all that around dead season as well, because you can make it work for you if you want, time off work, that's amazing, can go on holiday, whatever, but you can't if you have no money. So try and definitely structure that, but again, don't work yourself to death just to afford dead season. If you're smart about it, it can work for you. One final thing, no, it's not one final thing. So another random thing is I think I brought way too much stuff over when I came. I brought so many clothes and I'm like, I ain't gonna wear them all the time. Try and pack as minimally as possible so then you can buy more stuff when you get over here, because there's some really, really cool stuff in Canada and you'll end up buying a lot of stuff anyway. And yeah, leave that stuff that you maybe don't wear that much, or you think, oh, maybe I need it for the cold weather. That kind of stuff, just leave it at home. Don't worry. And then you can buy more stuff when you get here and then bring it home. Yay. Finally, my last thing is I feel that a mistake that I made, especially my first season, is that I didn't say yes to things that I should have. And I kind of put things off and I said, oh, when I have more time, or when I have more money, or when this and this and this. And I sort of thought that there will be more time, and I didn't say yes in the moment. And I wish I did, because there's so many experiences that you're only going to get once. Even though you feel like, oh, I've got 6 months, I'll do this at some point, you may not get the chance. So if you get the chance to, you know, say your friends are going heli skiing, or say your friends are going for a trip to Vancouver, or whatever, something that comes up, maybe not always centered around drinking, but like an actual thing that doesn't happen very often, going ice skating, going to watch a hockey, whatever it is, try to say yes to those times, because they're the times that really make up your whole experience. And that's what's gonna, you know, be the most fun part. That's the stuff that you're going to remember. So make sure you say yes to those really special times, even if you're tired, even if you're like, oh, I don't know if I have the money. If it's reasonable, definitely just go do it, and you're going to have the best time. That's all I have. Like I said, there's heaps of resources in the description. I have my ebook, I have lots of videos, I have everything that you could ever need. So make sure you message me if you need anything else. And I really appreciate you guys for watching. Bye.